feel like it's already so many sources of self-improvement and self-development content out there. Whatever it is and whatever your goals are, I'm pretty sure there's some content out there to help you get closer to that. Because there was a time not so long ago, I want to say about like a little bit like after the pandemic, I would just consume so much inspirational content. My vision board was really envisioning, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like once you actually become that woman in your vision board, there's not enough conversation that talks about how people begin to behave towards you. A lot of it is good and most of it is good, but I knew I was being tested. So today, let's talk about the time where I dealt with a Karen and how I had to handle it. Let's get into it. About 2 years ago, I became a homeowner. You know, with the girlies, like the little picture where they hold the key and like they had a little sign. That was, it was on my vision board and I was not playing games. I talked to God about it. I prayed about it. I went through some shanky landlords, some crazy exes, and all types of just experiences that just let me know it's time to lock in and just get something of my own. The process of becoming a homeowner was not a walk in the park. I really had to stand on business for myself and advocate for myself. Just draw the line when I felt like a realtor was playing in my face or a seller was playing in my face. God did his thing and was definitely answering prayers, just pushing me to the right people in my corner and just the right sequence of events to happen and eventually the right home. And for me, it was everything that I was writing and manifesting about. I'm like, I want, you know, the high-rise building, amenities, I want the safety of the front desk staff, I want an easy garage, I want the pool, I want the gym, I want the beautiful view. I closed on my very first home. So the building that I bought my condo in, there's an office for the Homeowners Association. So that's where you pay your monthly dues and everything for all of the amenities, or if you want to pay for anything extra, like if you want to reserve an event space that's in the building or reserve the pool. The people that work in the office, they're like a third-party management company that comes in and just handles the 9-to-5 day-to-day budget and paperwork and all of that other stuff in the HOA meetings that I didn't really care to go to at the time. So that office is like on a different floor within the building. I didn't really need to visit the office too much. Like if I wanted to reserve one of the event rooms or something like that, that was really the only time like I really went down there. But there was a time when I very first moved in, like within that very same month. Love my condo. I love my condo. But the floors when I bought this place was just, it was carpet. It was like this old carpet that was just not giving. I don't know what was in the carpet or what was the carpet, what color the carpet was supposed to be, why there was carpet. The carpet needed to go. So as an owner, I knew from when they were doing the showing and when I was like first closing on the place, I was like, that's the one thing that I'm gonna just take the time. I'm gonna take my few little dollars and get this carpet up because it's just not giving. So I found like a really good contractor, good floors like I wanted. Yeah, let's get this up, let's lighten up the place. But in order to do like any kind of construction project within your unit, you would have to contact the HOA office for that, which is completely understandable. You want to make sure that you're using the right material, that you're using an approved contractor and all of that. Who I was talking to in the office, like she was really sweet and everything like that. It's like, yeah, you know, just fill out this form, let us know what you're gonna do, send us the floor specs, send us the contractor information and stuff like that. We'll approve it within a week. Cool. So if I remember correctly, I moved into my building in the beginning of the month, and then towards the end of the month, I knew I was going to Greece. I'm like, we could definitely get these floors up and get these floors together before I go to Greece. Like, let's just get it out the way. I sent my stuff immediately. I was like, here are the floor specs, information for the contractors, their company, their license information and everything that you need. You know, let me know if you need anything else. But I noticed like a week had passed and I still didn't get a response. So understandably, I called the office. They said that they were still, you know, kind of processing it and things like that. But at a certain point, I just kind of stayed on top of them because it's getting closer and closer to when I'm leaving the country. And at that point, I already scheduled for the contractor to come there. It was like 2 weeks out from when I submitted the information or the construction request. Throughout that time, like I wasn't getting a response from the office or nothing like that. So, you know, I called again. And for whatever reason, it went from oh, we need you to send it on time to the manager of the office has to approve it or something like that. And so I'm like, okay, well, can I speak to her? You know, it's been enough time or whatever. Like, I just want to, you know, kind of see what's going on. At this point, the person that I'm on the phone with, for the sake of this story, we're going to name the manager of this office Karen. I'm talking to Miss Karen, right? And I remember, like I said, I have a very good memory. I'm very intelligent, very organized, all that good stuff, right? Karen is saying that I never sent an email to the office. First, they were saying that they didn't receive all the information that they needed from me. And so I, you know, showed the receipts to show them. I'm like, you definitely did, you know, get all of this. I'm like, is it something else that you need? So I'm just trying to basically get to the bottom of this, not even argument. So Miss Karen, in her story, it went from she didn't have everything that she needed from me, to she didn't receive the email with the rest of the information, to the office is busy and she didn't have time to open it. They get a lot of emails or some. It was going in so many different directions, but I'm just like, how did this go from, oh, you're too busy to see the email, to I never sent the email? How would you know whether I sent it or not if you're too busy? I used to work in customer service. I used to be a receptionist for like over 5 years. I used to work in hotels. I used to work in hospitals. I used to just always have a front desk type of job. I have a very, you know, soft, pleasant voice. Like, I don't do too much. I mean, like, it could get mistaken as passive aggressive or whatever the case may be, but I'm really just a direct person, and I want to help and make sure that you get to the bottom of whatever it is that you need, so that we're not continuing to delay this for no reason. It wouldn't be fair to me at this point for the construction and the project that I'm looking forward to, and that I've arranged and, you know, did everything that I was supposed to do to make sure that it can happen on time, and for that to be delayed because you can't open an email and your story is all over the place. And I also noticed like this very condescending kind of tone. Now, most of the other owners within the building, they're older and they don't look like me. But I ain't even gonna take it there, but I definitely felt like I was being talked to like a little girl. I get it, my voice is soft. I'm a lot younger than Miss Karen. I don't know, but she gave like this really condescending tone, like, yeah, well, our office is like really busy. It's really busy. We get a lot of emails. I'm like, first of all, baby, you said the story was that you never received the email. How about this? So at that point, I, you know, kind of bypassed like the whole talking to me like a little girl, because at this point I'm like, none of that really matters. I'm like, let's get to the point of where this information is that you're saying that I did not send. So I told Miss Karen, I'm like, okay, let's stay on the phone and make sure that you see this email that I'm gonna send now. Can you see this? I got access to my email as I'm talking to her. I'm like, okay, can you see this email that I just sent now? And I didn't resend anything. I just replied to the email that I already sent them days before and weeks before, because that shows that it was in your inbox. Then her story was, oh, well, I didn't send it to the manager email. I sent it to the office associate email. And I'm like, I don't know the hierarchy of your positions. If anything, that means go back to whoever I spoke to on the phone. I sent it to somebody that works in your office. And if it was supposed to go to you, then wouldn't it be on them to send it to you? Like, how was I supposed to know? It was going in a lot of different directions. I don't know, it's almost like she had an attitude like I was messing up her plans to get her floor remodeled or something. I didn't do nothing to you, Karen. Like I said, that whole tone kind of thing, I can't explain like where I felt like I was being a little girl. I let it slide, because I'm like, that's not even, I truly don't care about none of that right now. Like, I just want to know, do you have everything that you need? Let's get this done. But yeah, after that really unnecessary hostile phone call where she finally realized that I sent her everything that she needed to get, I picked up how petty Karen was right away. In this email that I sent while we were on the phone, it had a screenshot of the information I already sent, because she was saying that she never got it on that certain day. So in the email that I sent her, I said, in this screenshot below and in the following email I will forward you, you can see that the specs for the underlayment were sent on June 13th as requested by someone in your office. Receipts. Additionally, the scope of work, all requested information for the project was attached in the email to your office as well. If there's anything else you need by this point, please let me know. And I hope that these incidents of miscommunication will be resolved. She said something like, received today. Thank you. When you a woman, like, you know the shade, you know the pettiness. It was just a really nice, nasty, email-y kind of way to say, well, I didn't receive it on the day that you sent it. You okay, Karen. Cool, Karen, you got it. Because at the end of the day, my floors got done the next day. Okay, and they looked really great and I was excited. Look at me, I'm rolling on the floor and stuff. Yay. And I just went back to enjoying my blessing, enjoying my home. Fast forward, I never really had to interact with Karen like that. I didn't really have anything to go to the office for. The next time that I interacted with Karen, like, it was for something like really small. I think one of the washing machines broke down in the laundry room, and then it just like took a little bit of my change or something like that. It was less than $1. And so I just called the office or whatever. Karen picked up the phone and with an attitude, and she told me to come up to the office, and she gave me like information to call the manufacturing company for the washing machine or something. Okay, now like I said, like, I have a history with customer service, secretary type jobs and front desk jobs and all of that. I think like the easiest thing to do would just be a call maintenance, just slap a little out of order sign on that particular washer and then credit me back my little change or whatever that it took. But I just noticed like Karen was just not a helpful person, and it was definitely intentional. Like, why am I calling the company that made the washing machine? Like, I let it go. Like, I was just not excited to interact with her. Like, I just avoided that office as much as I could. She just was not a nice person, you know what I mean? There'd be times where like the building would have like different events, or just the residents and owners in the building and stuff like that. We would have pool party, front desk staff, the maintenance staff, the office staff, and you know, even outside of the residents, you know, anybody can come, grab a burger, grab a pizza, whatever. Miss Karen was there. Even just like on a nice, sunny, happy day where everybody is just like vibing and happy with each other, Karen was just not nice. Like, she was just always angry. And I'm just like, dang, like, what's going on? Like, it's a nice day. You could be in your bikini too. Like, no matter what it was, Miss Karen, dang, like, she was just always angry. Fast forward. At this point, I lived in my place for a little bit over a year. There was a point where, I don't know, that like they picked up a third party ACH portal or whatever, where you pay your monthly dues. The system that they use to process the payments, so for some reason they migrated to a different website or something like that. And so when I went in to pay, for some reason, instead of marking my payment as paid on the day that I submitted the payment, like I do any other time, it only recorded my payment after the bank received it. Like any other bill that you pay, it's recorded as paid on the day that you pay it, not the day that your bank processed it. So it was a simple like glitch in this new system or whatever the case may be. So because it didn't record my payment on the day that I actually submitted the payment, I saw that I had a $50 late fee show up on my account. Now, I've been living here for over a year, never had a late payment or anything like that. So I called the office. I talked to somebody in the office. They, I guess, couldn't help or know how to reverse the late fee. So then they transferred me to Miss Karen. So I guess Karen, like, she was just too busy and wasn't able to get back to me or whatever, because all of this is happening on the phone, by the way. So I sent an email with the screenshots just to show that I paid this on time. So I say something like, hey, you know, here's the screenshots to show that I paid this on time. Can we resolve this? Something like that I said. Now, Karen responds back. And like I said, this lady, I don't know what's wrong with her, but it was very obvious at this point that she's just making up things. Karen comes up with this story like she looks at all of my payments since when I first moved in, my account ledger, and it never had a zero balance. So in the process of when I closed on my condo, there was a previous owner who had an outstanding balance that they were using the money that I paid for the condo to pay off. So this outstanding balance would show up on my unit number, but it was noted this previous owner was responsible. All of this was in writing that she would be responsible for paying off that assessment or whatever. And she did. So cool. This was in writing. They had this document. I had the document. That's the zero balance or whatever that Karen was referring to. So again, you know, Karen is being just difficult. Just it doesn't make sense. The only reason this late fee is showing up is after I paid my assessments and it wasn't processed until a few days later. Just take it off, take the late fee off, like, or direct me to somebody that can take the late fee off. Like I said, I used to work in customer service. Like, when you don't have the answer, you just transfer them to somebody who does. It was a real easy fix, but again, like, I'm being talked to in circles, or I don't know. When Karen sent that email, I'm just like, I'd rather just go to the office so that we not emailing and confusing each other back and forth. So I take a little trip down the elevator, go to the office. I start speaking to whoever is at the front of the office. Karen and her terrible haircut come out. The same Karen that was too busy to get on the phone with me. So she looks at the girl in the office and she's like, oh, I got this, I'll take care of her. Talking about me. So in Karen's hand, she basically has a printout of the nonsense that she already sent me via email, a screenshot of my account, which I already had. I could see the late fee on my account. She's like, here, you need to look at this, like with a paper, you know, like trying to push it towards me. And so I'm just looking at her. I was like, I need you to like just slow down and listen to what I'm saying. I haven't had a late payment and this payment isn't late. And I'm basically just breaking it down. Same way I'm breaking it down to y'all. Like, hey, this was paid on this day. I have the screenshots to show payment was submitted on time. As I'm like trying to explain that in my very soft voice, Karen is talking over me. She got this paper. She kind of like wiggling in my face. I'm being talked over. You know, I didn't take the paper from her. I'm like, you're not really like listening or comprehending or processing what I'm saying. All of that other stuff, you know, extra stuff you're doing, like, that's not gonna work. So finally she gives up and she's like, what you need to do is you need to write a letter to the board of directors and maybe they can help you because I can't help you. I was like, I'm not sure why I would need to write a letter to the residents of the building for a payment system that your company is responsible for. I'm trying to explain to you that this payment isn't late and you're talking over me and wiggling this paper in my face. Like, I don't understand what that's supposed to do. I was like, if what you're saying is true and you can't remove it, can you direct me to somebody that can just remove the late fee or whatever? Because I think that's a really easy fix. As I'm saying all this, like, I'm being talked over at the same time. It's a real passive aggressive, like, catty kind of energy. It wasn't like a loud, explosive, confrontational argument or anything like that. But Karen finally give up and she breaks character. And she's like, and I have things that I need to get done. I was like, okay, and this is one of them. You're not gonna dismiss me and you're gonna get that paper out of my face and listen to what I'm telling you. Okay? She said, no, you need to leave. You need to leave. You need to leave. This conversation is happening and I'm gonna paint the picture. There's a desk in Karen's office, right? I'm on the other side of the desk and Karen is on the other side. As she's doing all of this wiggling and stuff like that with the paper and everything and doing all of this just weird passive aggressive behavior, she's not that close to my face as she's doing it, which is why I'm able to keep my composure for the most part. Because girl, who you talking to? Who is she talking to? I had to do a quick little scan around the room. And I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. I was like, I live here, you don't. What's going on? Karen comes around the desk as she's still talking. Comes, because I didn't move as I'm speaking. I did not move or get close to this lady at all. Miss Karen come around the desk, right? Karen comes around the desk. She walk up. Karen walks around this desk. And at this point, I wanted to know what was she getting ready to do. And I stand in the same spot where I'm at because I'm like, what this hoe getting ready to do? She thinks she's gonna touch me? What's going on? What's going on? What was going on? I don't know what was going on. She comes around the desk. She stands by me in my personal space. But we not face to face because I'm still, you know, standing where I'm standing. You know, I got some height on her. She's kind of like just standing next to me. I don't know if the goal was to intimidate me or whatever that was supposed to be. And she's still talking about leaving. And I'm just like, I don't know how this turned into this, but we at the point where I could smell, I don't know if it was her breath I was smelling or just her. I smelled Karen. She wasn't crazy enough to touch me, but you too close. You're too close. You're too close. You're too close. You too close. And at this point, this is how I know that I've grown so much and I've come such a long way. I know I have this look like I don't put my hands and feet on people, but I would, and I have. And this felt like one of them times. It was to the point where, you know, you get that little feeling on the inside, that little like rush of adrenaline, like Karen. Like, Karen, what are you doing? I'm not the one. What's going on, Miss Karen? And I'm like, yeah, I was like, I don't know who you're talking to. I don't know who you're talking to. And I just kept saying it just like that, like real, like gently. I was like, I don't know who you're talking to. 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 She's like, you need to leave. And so it's just like a little back and forth. And all jokes aside, there was like a voice in my head that was just like, Kelsey, you smarter than that. We're not gonna do it like that. Handle it a different way. You've come so far. She's not gonna touch you. Handle it a different way. So after all of that, I was like, bye, Karen. Like, I said Karen. Was Karen her real name? No. But at this point, it is now. Like, bye, Karen. Hairstyle I had at the time was braids. I had them in a ponytail. And because Karen was so close, when I turned around, I smacked her with my braids. And as I'm walking off, she's like, my name isn't Karen. And the other lady at the front of the desk, she trying to act like she don't see none of this, but at the same time, she trying not to laugh. And I walked out of the office, just really restraining myself. I truly restrained myself because, like, Karen, like, she don't even know her head was gonna be in that copy machine. It's just, if you don't know me personally, you just gotta take my word for it. I've come such a long way, and that was such a testing moment. Like, I felt, when I walked out the office, the door closes, I hear her yell something. I couldn't make out what she yelled, but it was she was like, "Arr!" I don't know if she was yelling at the other secretary at the desk, or if she had to wait till I closed the door to call me a racial slur. To this day, I don't know what the words was that she yelled. And it wasn't even worth me going back to the door and opening the door, like what was said. It wasn't worth it. Because I was truly on the inside, like, shaking. This is not the environment that I should be having this feeling like I'm about to swing on somebody. In a time where everything else is just so peaceful and just such a happy experience. That took a lot of restraint. When I got back up to my condo, I was truly shaking. I was feeling so many different things. I could laugh about it now, but why me? Why me? At this point, it's not even about the late fee. I'm just like, oh, like, that's it. Like, I can't. I couldn't even sleep. Like, you just tried me in my home. What? At this point, there was no direct contact to contact anybody that was above her. I searched our handbooks, our emails, our board meeting details, and all of that. There was no contact information for anybody that was above her, which was just crazy to me. My very first thought was to reach out to her supervisor, but there was no contact information to her supervisor and barely any way to find out who he was. Karen is basically the manager. She's like the top manager within the building, so there's nobody else over her head within the building. Whoever was over her head, whoever her supervisor was, they didn't work within the building, so she was like the highest person that you can get in touch with or contact. They made it so hard to find any information about who else, how to contact anybody else that was above her. And maybe that's why she was so comfortable, because I was truly just like, why does this lady act like this? Immediately after that, Karen sent me this email, right? I guess to follow up and kind of cover her tracks. She knew that this interaction or confrontation or whatever was gonna come out. And she sends this email like, Kelsey, following your visit at 5:55 this evening, you and your very offensive words towards me, as well as calling me another name, I would suggest that you prepare a letter to the board of directors requesting your late fee be reversed. As I previously explained, your account has had a balance since last April, and you make your payments late every month for many months. All of this was a lie. And if all my payments were late, then why is this the first late fee? First of all, this is not about the late fee anymore. This is not about the late fee. And there was no offensive words. Karen is not an offensive words. That's just who you are and what you are. I could have said way more than that. But you're just a Karen that thrives off giving people a hard time. I could have said way more than that. Just the whole gaslighting of the way she tried to like completely cover her tracks and like cover up the fact that she was the aggressor in this unhinged, unprovoked, unnecessary confrontation. The bigger lie was how that interaction took place in the office. Because had I been the aggressor, if I truly came in there and took the bait, sweetheart, you would have called 911 on me. You just lied. That is not how it went. That is not how the story went, Karen. Play with your booty hole. Don't play with me. This is what I said back. Hi, Karen. Upon becoming a unit owner and resident for over a year, I have been pleased to live in a home with such beautiful amenities and professional and helpful management and staff overall. Unfortunately, today, I'm deeply disappointed in your inaccurate claims to my articulate and calm response to your confrontational and threatening behavior, evidenced by your words verbatim. Do you see my mouth? That's a part I left out. So as she was wiggling that little paper in my face, there was a point where I was like, going to the board of directors doesn't make any sense. Like, and it's your company that is responsible for this payment system. After I said that, she was like, ma'am, do you see my mouth? And I'm just like, no, and I don't see lips either. I have a very smart mouth. So the stuff that fly out my mouth is so quick. Outside of calling her a Karen, I did not call her out her name. This was when she was still on the other side of the desk. She stood up and pointed to her crinkly, wrinkly mouth. And she said, do you see my mouth? It was no longer passive aggressive. It was just aggressive. And I'm just like, no, I don't see lips either. That's probably why she came on the other side of the desk. But that wouldn't have ended well for you either, Miss Karen. But yeah, so evidenced by your words verbatim, do you see my mouth? Surrounded by your gesture of pointing to your mouth and raising from your office seat to approach me in an aggressive manner. As the owner of a unit for over a year with no previous late fees, I'm unfortunately unsatisfied with our attempt to reach a reasonable resolution in response to a delayed system processing issue following my consecutive timely payments. In addition, I'm deeply disappointed in your unprofessional, aggressive, and condescending behavior that concluded the opportunity for a peaceful conversation. As a resident, I now feel uncomfortable, threatened, and unsafe to address and resolve issues during our conversations, and I'm requesting the direct contact information to your supervisor and aim to achieve a more helpful and peaceful conversation about any inquiries I might have. I'm a proud and grateful homeowner within the building. I look forward to more tranquil and professional encounters with my management office and team soon. You have a nice weekend, because we could go email for email. You can't eat me up, you can't beat me up. Karen's response was, Kelsey, feel free to write a letter to the board of directors with your requests and complaints. It will be shared with them prior to the next board meeting. Regards, Karen. From that little email, she didn't want to give me the contact information to her supervisor. I just couldn't sleep. They know you're thriving off the privilege that you have to get away with acting like an uncivilized buffoon, and I don't get that same privilege. One thing about this situation, you don't live here. This is my home. But I found a management company that she worked for, and then I also built a list of contact information that I could dig up for the board of directors, because like she said, she wanted to write a letter and for this to be submitted an entire month after the incident or whatever. So I would have to wait for a whole 30 days for this letter to be opened. It was nonsense. I need to call somebody about this. I'm ashamed to say how I even found some of these people's contact information and how I found her supervisor's contact information, but the point is, I found it. Once I found the office that she worked for, the late fee was easily removed. But that was no longer the issue anymore. At this point, I had to prepare a letter to this board of directors. The board of directors are basically residents within the building that kind of lead decisions, lead votes, make sure that everything is fair in the board meetings and stuff like that. Because I kind of just came here and I'm not like a big complainer. I don't care about, oh, this piece of grass is here. I don't like the color and shade of these windows. I don't be in there in the board meetings complaining like the rest of the residents. But the thing is, they don't have any direct contact information because they hired this office to take care of paperwork and complaint and stuff like that. You know, owners and residents just kind of submit letters for them to read within the meetings when they have the meetings. But the next meeting isn't until 30 days after Miss Karen just tried me. I prepared an email. I'm not going to write a letter and then submit it to the office for her to withhold the letter. I truly believe she was just going to have me write the letter and then hide the letter. She probably wasn't even going to give them that letter. When I found, you know, Miss Karen's supervisor, when I reached out to him to clear up the late fee and all of that, I followed up with an email to also discuss Karen's behavior, but also CC the board of directors on this as well, because I have their emails as well. So we'll say that this supervisor's name is Kevin. So I say, dear Mr. Kevin, following our conversation, I'd like to thank you again for your support and for providing a solution to the inquiry regarding my timely payment history. I'm just real detailed with these emails because it's not to be condescending, but truly, if I don't add these details, people start to act stupid. You have to put stuff in writing. That's the only way people can't play with you. So I was like, as the owner and resident, I'm writing this email as a formal grievance and report of an incident of aggressive and unprofessional behavior by community association manager Karen. I had the date and everything. In this incident, Karen exhibited unwarranted, aggressive, confrontational, and unprofessional behavior, specifically during this office visit to follow up an email conversation regarding the payment system inquiry. Karen's exact words, "Do you see my mouth?" while pointing to her mouth in her act of walking to the other side of the desk to approach my personal space in an aggressive manner, concluded the visit and the opportunity for a reasonable resolution in that moment. Following this visit, Karen sent me an email with false claims surrounding how the incident and a deliberate refusal to give me your information to escalate this matter. As a unit owner for over a year, I've been pleased to live in a home with such beautiful amenities and professional and helpful management and staff overall. Unfortunately, Karen's threatening and unprofessional behavior has created a hostile and uncomfortable environment, which has affected my ability to communicate with the office directly to address and resolve inquiries peacefully. If you need any additional information from me to support my account of this incident, please let me know. I respectfully request for this situation to be addressed and for appropriate action to be taken to ensure a respectful and professional environment for all residents, owners, and staff. I'm available to discuss this further if needed, and I'm willing to cooperate fully with any investigation. To the board of directors, I apologize for being unable to introduce myself under more positive circumstances, but I have included you in this email for awareness. Thank you for your attention to this serious matter. At this point, I couldn't really gauge whether Kevin condoned this behavior from one of his employees or not. But what I do know is at this point, you can't pretend like you don't see what I just talked about, even if you wanted to. Because now I have the residents that live in the building that you all work with that hired y'all can see this. Now, my theory is that this email gagged them. Nobody said anything for a minute, but I know they saw it. It just might have taken a minute to gather thoughts and gather information for a response. And that was okay, because all of this happened in the summer. I was traveling. I just did a little Houston vlog. It was a fun summer. But yeah, it took them a minute. It was going on almost a month since I got a response from this email. When I finally did get a response to the email, it was from one of the members on the board that she wanted me to write a letter to so bad. This member, I didn't even CC in the email where I was reporting the behavior and everything. But when I CC'd the president on the board, she apparently forwarded the email to him. We'll call him Dave. So he says, I hope this email finds you well since your date of the email thread. Share it to that company manager, supervisor, and some of the members on the HOA board of directors. I wanted to thank you in sharing this, as board members are often not kept aware of all the interactions between resident and management here. Personally speaking, I find the treatment you describe as appalling and inexcusable. No resident should ever be treated like this in their homes, especially by somebody that we hired. Please note that I've openly shared other similar resident complaints in open session as a board member here, and your complaint is far from the first that has been brought to my attention. You are not alone, and I take such feedback seriously. Given that I can only share certain updates, it is public knowledge that the board has announced drastic changes in addressing multiple complaints of unprofessional behavior. You will likely see some drastic announcements and changes soon as a result. I encourage all owners to attend monthly meetings. We have one tonight that owners can remote into. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you need further support or resolution. These are our homes, and owners deserve to be treated with dignity and professionalism. So by the time anybody reached out to me, it was a month later after all of this had went down, and it was the day of board of directors meeting. I typically don't join these, but when I tried to, why was my email blocked from the Zoom meeting? And you could tell when I joined from my other email that they didn't know about. Boom, I'm in the meeting. So Karen is still on her shenanigans. For most of the meeting, they mute everybody else and they only open up the floor when it's time to have discussions and suggestions and stuff like that. So obviously I submitted a suggestion like, hey, there needs to be an easier and more direct way for residents to contact members on the board, in case of incidents that happen with the staff. I was like, yeah, ideally we should be able to just go directly to the office and then they go directly to you all so that they can filter out the complaints and things like that. But there could be a situation where anybody on the staff is exhibiting inappropriate behavior. There should be an outlet or some type of platform or portal for us to communicate that directly to y'all. That's all I said. At that stage in the meeting, they don't directly respond to those questions and concerns. They have to vote and it's the whole process and stuff like that. But I put in my little 2 cents. Karen is on this meeting, but she's trying to not acknowledge me or whatever. Why was Karen removed from working at the building? Now, we can't control whether the company that she worked for actually fired her. I guess they sent her off to her next victim, but she ended up getting replaced. She was no longer the manager. And fast forward 2 months after this, they actually ended up firing this entire management company. The residents made a decision, the contract ended. Enough is enough. Like Dave said, I was not alone. They had to go. Oh my God, y'all. So I actually forgot to add in the middle of all of this, Karen was just crazy. The week before this meeting, I actually attempted to submit a complaint letter to the board of directors about her. And this lady rejected it and blocked them from seeing it. I had to go around her head and send it directly to Dave so that he could see my complaints about her. And Dave ended up checking her. He checked her in his email where he says, I received a complaint that you have refused to include the attached letter in the owner's comments note section for tonight's board meeting. Basically, it ain't your place to do that. Stop hiding this girl's letters. She got checked in this email and then she got checked in the meeting. I was cracking up. That was another reason why she didn't want to acknowledge me on that call. And then in the 7 days that she had to remove her stuff about the building, why in the middle of all of this did this lady add an additional late fee just because we were arguing back and forth through email? Then after that board of directors meeting, she added an additional fee called a reversal late fee. I forgot about that. It was so petty. But both of those got removed and so did she. Bye, Karen. I actually had another phone conversation with him where he was saying all of the other crazy stuff that she was doing. It was just enough. Like I said, bye, Karen. These Karens will test you. It's hard dealing with a Karen. It takes so much restraint. Girl, play with your booty hole. Don't play with me. 2 months down the line, the entire management company ended up getting fired. The contract was terminated. They were removed and got swapped out with a completely different management company that is so much more professional, so much more open. They even leave the office door open in the building for us to come in. With the first company, they wouldn't even leave the office door open. They just didn't want you to come in or ask questions. This company, I haven't had to go there for anything yet. I still haven't even met them because they just take care of everything over the phone. I don't even need to come down there. Where Karen is today, these days, I don't know. What was crazy was to be that comfortable acting a fool like that, you would have thought that she worked in this building for 15 years. She had only been here for a year. And I just came into the BS when I moved in. I just came into the stage where the residents were starting to get fed up with how this office was behaving. And I had no clue. And there could have just been way more incidents that residents didn't even know how to report because there was no portal or easy way to access this. So yeah, I don't know what Karen's problem was or where she at today, but I know she ain't here. Bye. It was so funny because for the rest of that Zoom call, I couldn't even focus on nothing else they said. I literally just did my little victory dance. Goodbye. Bye, Karen. And so I just want to wrap it up with this. As you grow and glow and start to touch those different places and different goals and things on your vision board, and like you feel like you surrounded yourself in the most peaceful scenarios and places possible, still don't be surprised when different trials and tests just start to come out the blue. It's not about just preparing for something negative to always happen, but you just can't be surprised that there are people out there that are fighting demons. And they demons are winning. Don't let them win with you. You can't snatch them up, but you can't let it slide either. And it's okay. It's okay. Gather them emails, gather your words, gather your thoughts, gather your composure, gather those receipts, and gather these types of people. Stand on business, especially when you have like that real quiet kind of look to yourself. Sometimes you still gotta make a little noise for your respect and for your peace, for your comfort that you work so hard to achieve. Because Ephesians 6:12 says what? For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. But at the same time, by Karen. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this story. If you got any stories of your own, share them in the comments. If you would have handled this one a little differently, let me know. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, hit that like button, and hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video.